So I want to invite you to take a moment with me, to take a look and into my mind and discover some of the things that you might just find, you know, just depending on how deep that you actually go, you know. So the surface, there's tons of walls and barriers and doors with chains and locks and and safes, you know, with multiple chains and locks on them that hide some of the worst trauma that I've gone through, as well as some of the things I'm just not ready to deal with yet, But if you really take like a look inside, what you're gonna find out is that, that over like the years I've learned, just to bury things, to bury emotions and feelings, and uh, pain, and hurt, and the letdowns, and like all of the abuse, and like the one thing that's clear, like in all this, is that, that there's a wolf that stands guard, whose only job and purpose is to try to protect me. Like anytime that it seems like someone is trying to hurt me or to do me harm, or or if like it sees that the me that's nice and kind and caring and is trying to remain calm and stay calm and to work through things like with like individuals isn't just like working out, then it feels the need that it has to like act, like that's when the warrior side, that's when the protector side of that wolf takes over, and in the moment, like it does what it thinks that it has to do, and and it's like that what I wanted to do in that moment no longer matters, because the wolf feels as if, well, we tried your way, it didn't work, so now we're going to try my way, and and there's like a lot of things, that it guards against. It guards against trusting people, because like the walls and barriers and the doors and the safes and all that are there. Pun intended, but to keep me safe, just to make sure that, that, that I'm careful about who I let in, and, and even the ones I let in, it's just how much trust am I willing to actually give to them. It's how foreign do I really let them get? It's like how much of my guard do I let down? It's do you just drop like all of the walls for that, like into like a visual? And I'm not talking about all of the ones that are meant, to shield me from like all the other stuff, but like, like the one that's for 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 trusting people. It's like how much of that wall do I let down for that individual? It's like how many chains or locks do I take off of the door that is behind that wall? And, and yeah, I mean, as well as all of the bad parts and the darkest uh, parts, and how like areas, that for the most part, I really don't let too many people like venture out like into, you know, um, like, like it matters to me, who I choose to really care about, who I choose to let my guard down somewhat, like around, and, and yeah, sure, like, yeah, like, you're gonna see that, oh yeah, that there's, uh, you know, things that, you know, should, bring me, like happiness and joy, like being a mom, like having a family, you know, but like underneath that, let's be honest, you know, there's a great deal of doubt, uh, like at times that I do feel, and like, and like at times, the darkness, like the like emptiness, you know, like like it starts to take over. It starts to uh can swim me, from like the like inside out, you know, it's like one little thing said by someone that I care about, you know, has the potential to basically shatter like everything, and then the darkness says, oh, well, okay, you're weak, you're like vulnerable. Now it's my time. Now it's my time to rise up, because now I have a way in, like I have a way to get out of what was keeping me can find and then prison, you know it's like opening up Pandora's box and like a sense, and it's like you feel bad, it's like that you feel like you can't seem to get anything right. That no matter how hard you try or how much effort that you think that you put in, to like trying to show people that you do care, that they do matter, that that at times that it's all for naught. Like it's all for naught. Like you uh like you start to have those moments where it's like, oh, like it doesn't matter what you need or what helps you um, get through, um, you know, like um, your mental struggles, like that what helps you to keep going, and to be honest, like my videos that I do, like for me, like that helps me. That gives me a healthy like outlet. Just like in my opinion, I think that music is that kind of like outlet for like artists. like enough, you know, like, it's like a platform, like to use, um, to get out like those things that are otherwise like hard to open up about, or like hard to like talk about, that a lot of people just don't actually get. Like they look at the like outside, and if the outside looks good, then that's all that they actually like care about. Like they don't care one bit about the inside, about like what's going on like underneath. Like as long as the outside looks good, and they're like, oh yeah, everything's totally good. And that could be completely false. Like when I say that words have meaning, that's for like a reason. I'm not just saying that to say it. Words words have so much power, that a lot of times we don't actually like think about. You know, like for me, words can hurt. They can help. They can help heal and mend a broken heart. You know, words can words can cause deep sadness. They can cause anger. They can cause depression. And it's not just the words either. Like it's also like the tone at times to go along like with those same exact like words. You know, and for the most part, like I don't really think that everybody like gets that. You know, I mean, it's like that. Oh, as well, like well, I don't think that the words should make you feel a certain way. Or I don't think that the tone actually matters. Oh no, they don't know the tone does matter, and everybody is different. So the words that you use can have an impact on that individual, which is why that for most part, it's like I try to think about the words that I use on like a regular basis. Like I don't aim to like hurt anybody. Like I don't aim to like bring anybody down. It's like I aim to be there, to show support, to show that I do care. You know, to show that it's like I'm willing to open up. Just to be vulnerable. To create like a safe space and to let people know that they're not like alone. And it's like and like all of that is within my mind. You know, so yeah, there are like a lot of rooms. There's a lot of safes that are like locked that that only get like partially opened, like if that, and then they get locked right back up again, you know, because I don't like what lies behind or what lies within them. It's like I don't, you know, and and a big part, like like there's this one part, like in my mind where like all of like my doubts and my insecurities lie, and with dealing with that, it's like, like I use avoidance a lot, I mean, it's not the best way to deal with those things, but like a lot of times I just don't have the I don't have the energy or the effort to give to those things, to try to help um eliminate them, because it's like I don't know, it's like I don't know how to feel a lot of the time. I still struggle with actually knowing, if I'm actually ever really happy about anything, or if I'm just hiding behind a mask most of the time. You know, I mean, um, obviously there are moments where it's it's I think, it's I am overjoyed about certain things, but then there are some ones where it's just well, I don't know if I'm just going through the emotions, if my body is reacting, you know, and there's no connection between between the reaction and the actual emotional tie to that, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's something I still struggle with, you know, because I mean, I know that I'm far from being perfect, so I don't try to pretend to be perfect. It's I don't try to be right all of the time, because I know there are times when I am obviously wrong. It's I will apologize even when I know that I'm not wrong, even when I know I haven't done anything wrong, because it's that complex. It's that mindset that it's if somebody feels a certain way, if they act a certain way, then it's probably something that I did to them. I mean, that's how I take it, because that's how I've been conditioned. I mean, I mean, I find myself, you know, um, uh, did this associating, with things at times, just to try to get through, you know, um, I mean, is that a healthy thing to do? No, but it's one that I'm aware of, and and it's not it's an intentional either. It's that it happens when my mind knows that I can't really deal with something fully. It's it's protection, mechanism, you know. Um Like I struggle with like wondering, you know, like if like all this is for like not, because I don't know, because like I don't know, it's like it's like some of the ones who I need to understand why I do the videos, while I spend a fraction of certain days like working, like on them, like whether it's shooting them or doing like initial like editing, to like cut things down, or to throw things into like a template, because I have to have a set way of doing things. I have to have a battle rhythm. I have to have some sort of set routine, to even uh, function somewhat, and when something happens to suddenly change that routine and it's not worked out in advance, it's like everything starts to collapse. You know, it's like it's like uh, uh, the roller coaster starts. It's like you know, like it's like I'm at like a higher risk of just spiraling, and going down farther into the abyss, and just ultimately saying, like the heck with it, because it's like if I can't be afforded time, you know, to work on like my videos, which, believe it or not, are actually part of my mental health therapy. You know, if I can't be, and I'm afforded like even like a few hours, like a day. Like I'm not asking for much, but just like a few hours, like a day. Like if that, just like work on them, because well, things take me longer to get done because of the way that my mind works now. Which is why I create like templates, to try to help lessen, the stress, um, that it brings, you know, um, but if I can be like awarded those uh, few hours, when that I need them, without having to feel bad or guilty, or feeling like I shouldn't be working, like on them, even though that by now, for those who are around me, who are in my closest circles, know by heart, or at least they should know by heart, that I only work on them as part of my mental health and as a way to create like a safe space, when as a way to try to give back, and as a way to try to, as a way to try to not, and as a way to not only attempt to help myself, but to help others too. You know, like just that, like just that, like, it's like when that happens, it's like all the doubt and everything else. It just becomes so, so, so overwhelming, and once again, that leaves me vulnerable. And then, yeah, darkness is like, well, there's a crack right there. Oh, okay, the crack just opened up even more. So now I can creep in, and, and I can get into your head, and your thoughts, and to start to take over. So it's like, yeah, I mean, the inside of my mind is very complex, to say the least, and some of those same doubts, I believe, is the reason why that I haven't put my memoir like out there. Even though that the original manuscript was written before I left the military. It was written around a time that I think I was trying to work out like which like internship that I was going to get like into, you know, um, to to help prep for the next journey in my life, like after the military, but when you look inside my mind, like that is obvious that um, my mind is still very much connected to the military. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's like the way that I think at times and I react to certain things. It's the way I would if I was still in the military. Like it's very much part of me still yet. It's very much embedded in my mind. You know, like I, I just um like I can't help it. Like the painful things that I learned and I went through, like in my childhood. How those are still like embedded. You know, I mean, like a lot of them for the most part are locked away, chained up, and locked. You know, and put into a safe. You know, and chained and locked, and and at the center of it all, it's like you got this Pandora's box, that keeps like the worst of the worst, And and when they really get bad, and when things start to leak out, or worse, the box just, uh, it breaks, you know, and then like everything comes out at like once, you know, that's when I'm at my worst. That's when it goes beyond, just a bad day, that's where you hit the danger zone, that you don't know if you're going to live to see another day, despite how much I make it a point to try to live by the personal quote that I came up with, that I put at the end of every single mental health video, that I put at the end of every single full length podcast like episode. It's like, it's like, I don't know, it's, it's like I try to, it's, it's like I try to enact the things in my own life, that I try to tell others, that they should maybe try, in terms of like coping or managing or dealing with or recognizing things, and then doing something like about them, that that is healthy, that can help out like long term, and not just short term, help out like anybody else, like it is harder to take your own advice, I mean, it just like it is, you know, um, and that I love that, I mean, and that I know that, and, and despite, like, all of the, complexities that, live in my mind, you know, one of the, few, like, areas, I guess, that offers some form of hope, and I guess in some sense that I don't quite like understand how like it offers like a brighter day, and perhaps one day that I will like understand how, but it's like this uh um like this concept, about loving as God, you know um I mean, it's like it was brought up at the end of Afraid with You by by Turin Wells, um, you know, in which this well-known figure talks about, about like a loving as God, like a loving like God, and how love that it has no bounds, because that doesn't, it doesn't, it's about, uh, it's about still being there, for people, like despite like all the wrong and all the hurt that they have caused us. It's about like helping them out because it's the right thing to do, because it's what God would do. I mean, you know, it's been one of the hardest things that I've learned to do, like in respects to some people, but not all. Because for some, I'm just not ready, to like talk about things. To get to that point, it's like I don't want to like let them back in. Um, but but like even like a little bit knows like who do us wrong. Somebody who abused us, and we forgive them, because if we don't, then they keep whatever power that they that they that they had like over us, right? Well, just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that, oh wow, okay, now I'm gonna be able, to, I don't know, I guess, like, give, like, a happy hand because it's the right thing to do. No, it does not. That is not how it works. Like, is its own, each is its own thing, I mean, we have to simply, and I know it's not as simple like as it sounds, but just to try to love like God, to try to love as God would, and to do things because they're the right thing to do, not because we are trying to obtain favor with God, because as I've learned in Psalms, like God doesn't really need works from us, you know, um, like, I mean, he doesn't truly need that, it's not works that are going to help us, you know, uh, meet our loved ones, like after we leave this world, you know, you know, like I mean, it's not, it's about like, uh, about like being like open and like honest, with like death, things that we've done wrong, and like asking for forgiveness, and knowing what sacrifice that God made for us, and in my mind, like using that as motivation, to want to do right by others, because it's simply just the right thing to do. Like, you see somebody, who could use your help, and yeah, they might have done you wrong in the past, yes, but you know what? God would still stop and he would still help that individual because it's the right thing to do, and so while that some people may not understand why I choose to help someone who has wronged me, who has broken so many promises, who has failed to protect me and instead caused me harm. Like, the only thing that I can say, is just learn to love as God would, to learn how to act and to, and to treat people as God would, because, and this is just me, like, I think there's far too much hate, like, I know, like, in this world as it, like, is, and, like, what good does it do me, to hate, like, anyone, it's like, it's like I may, like, a hate or dislike, what you do, but, when it all boils down to it, it's like, do I really hate you, I mean, that's a whole nother, like, ball game right there. That's a whole nother thing right there. It's like, it's like, it's like, I don't think that I have it, like, in me, to truly hate, like, anyone. It's like, I might dislike what somebody does to me. Like, I might dislike that, but as far as, like, full on, like, hatred, for that person or towards that person, like, I don't think that that's, me at all. Like, I really don't, and, and I know that I said a lot, but I know I also said that my mind is complex. Like, there's a lot going on, at any given time, because my mind doesn't really know how to, like, stop. It's not really like an off switch, you know. Like, at times I think that even when I am able, to sleep or to rest, that my mind is still going, and I think that's, like, evident, by, some of the, dreams or nightmares that I do have, you know, like, like, about things, and, like, oftentimes, like, people who I care about, or that I love, or that I know, or that I've lost, that they pop up in those same dreams, in those same nightmares, you know? But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's like no matter what, it's no matter how complex that our minds may be, or the things that we're trying to deal with or manage or to cope, you know, that, um, that we can't, forget or lose, sight of the fact, that there that there is hope, and and that I will say, trying to take things like one day like at a time, or to take things one moment like at a time, or like even just to take things like as they come, instead of trying to focus on everything at once. Um, you know, that that does help. That can help. You know, but like I think that also um starts with like not losing sight of the fact that that there is hope.